Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a 2-for-1 featuring the new Fluttering Butterflies stamp and coordinating die set, as well as the layering stencils. And I wanted to point out that this is also available in a washi tape as well, but I wanted to create my own custom colors for these butterflies, and I'm going to be using several Pinkfresh inks, which you can see here. So I have Peony and Cherry Blossom, I have Peach Fuzz, Sun-Kissed, Sage, Lush Forest, Waterfall, Atlantis, and Citron. I love that pop of that yellow-green. So I've taken this large one-piece stamp from the Fluttering Butterflies collection. It barely fits in my Misty, and to be honest, I could do it in an angle, but it had a little spot that didn't stamp because it kind of overlapped the edge of my Misty. And I was okay with it. It turned out fine. You're going to see it here, but I'm stamping it in Rocky Slope ink because I did not want like a harsh, dark outline. Now I'm grabbing the coordinating layering stencils and we're going to start stenciling, and I am using a lot of different colors. You're going to see me layer up kind of the blues and the yellow greens here. You're also going to see me layer the pinks with some of the oranges. And I do bring in a couple additional colors towards the end of this. I use candy violet and bubblegum as well for a little brighter pop of pink. So you can see I'm laying down my base colors and I'm coming in with some of the darker coordinating colors or kind of adjacent colors on the color wheel and kind of blending some of that on with my smaller blending brushes. Now I like to use the 1/2-inch blending brushes or even the 1/4-inch blending brushes because those help me really concentrate the kind of additional colors exactly where I want them. And I want to point out that you could absolutely do these all in a single color. You don't have to do like 3 different color sets or add additional colors and it would still be beautiful. But I kind of wanted a range of butterflies. I wasn't quite sure where I was going. And for the greenery, I blended the base in the sage color and then I did all of the details in the Lush Forest ink, which is one of my favorites. Now I'm finishing up all the blending here. I have some of the details in that candy violet and I brought in some bubblegum as well. And now I'm going to use the one-piece die to die cut all of these images. Now you can see that my die doesn't actually fit on my platform. I wanted to show you how I use my standard size cutting plates to cut these extra long dies. So what I like to do is position it and get it taped in place and run it through. Now some of the die hung off the end of my cutting plates. That's okay. Once I've run that through, I'm going to shift my die upward on the cutting plates to finish cutting all the images that didn't cut with the first pass through. And I was able to use my standard size cutting plates. I just had to run it through a couple of times to get all of these images. Now I'm doing kind of a 2-for-1 cards today, and I am using a lot of the same elements on both of the cards. So I'm using the butterflies and the greenery on both cards. I'm going to use the same sentiment, and I'm also going to use the nested arches on both cards. For the first card, I'm actually going to use the foil plates for the nested arches. And you can see I have it taped on a panel of white cardstock, and I'm going to use some champagne foil to foil this onto my cardstock. Now, once I have that in place, I'm going to take this and flip it with the back side of my hot foil plate towards the hot part or the heated part of my platform, and I am going to press the timer button. I've added my 2 shims that come with my Glimmer hot foil system, and once that timer has run through, I'm going to remove the platform from the base and run that through my Platinum 6, and you're going to see I get beautiful foiling results with this. And I've just kind of used the little hinge method with that tape there on my card front to position this arch exactly where I want it and keep it in place as I do my hot foiling. Now I'm going to grab the coordinating dies for this set, and I am going to use the one that cuts out the inside of this arch. There are inside and outside dies for all of these nested arches, and I'm going to tape that in place, being careful not to place any tape over my hot foil, and then run that through my die cut machine, and that leaves me with that beautiful window on my card front. Now for my sentiment, I'm using the Celebrating You stamp. This is from the Beyond Happy stamp and coordinating die set. I love this sentiment set. It is so much fun. And I decided to stamp it again in that Rocky Slope ink. And for my card base, I'm actually using some beautiful kind of salmon-y colored cardstock. And I'm going to die cut it using the Ornate Medallions Coverplate die from Pinkfresh Studio. This is a great option because it doesn't have an outer cutting edge on this background die. So it's just leaving me with those little diamond-shaped windows and that pierced pattern. Now I took my card front and I adhered it onto my card base using a little foam adhesive so it pops up there. And on the inside of the card, I'm going to place a panel of white cardstock so that you can see a contrasting color coming through all those little diamond-shaped windows on the card front. Now I probably should have put this on the actual upper part of this card base because it would have hidden my foam adhesive a little bit more, but I can always go back and add that in a little bit later. Now I have my large greenery piece from the Fluttering Butterflies stamp and coordinating die set. I've used the Sage and Lush Forest inks to stencil this. And I kind of stacked up 1 or 2 additional white die cuts behind it. I placed it onto that arch using a little bit of liquid glue. And now I'm grabbing a couple of those butterflies and I have foam adhesive just behind the center part of their bodies, and I'm adhering those to the greenery. Now, I'm going to admit this next part might be a little over the top for some of you, but I've taken the basic banners die from Pinkfresh Studio and I've die cut it from some champagne cardstock. And I'm adhering my die cut sentiment to the center of that with some liquid glue, kind of holding it in place to allow that liquid glue to set up on the glitter cardstock. And then I added some foam adhesive behind this, and I'm going to kind of slip that in between those butterflies over the greenery. And this just gives it a little more shine. Like I said, I know that might be a little much for some of you, but I love the additional shine, and I'm okay with that mixed metals look on these cards. Now we're going to get 2 cards out of this single stamp and stenciling of the Fluttering Butterflies stamp set. And I'm going to use a lot of the same elements, but I'm going to use a little bit different layout. So you can see I've die cut that arch again using some white cardstock. Now, if I would have thought about it, I would have saved the arch from the first card, but I wasn't that smart. I wasn't thinking ahead. And I'm just going to arrange the smaller greenery pieces on the left side of this arch. I'm going to do the repeated kind of sentiment that I created on the first card, so nothing's different than that. But this time I'm using kind of the blue, green, and purple butterflies on this. Now I die cut a larger arch out of some of that kind of really bright citron-y color cardstock, and I mounted the first arch to that green arch with some foam adhesive, and then I'm taking the entire thing and mounting it onto a white card base that I cut again with that Ornate Medallions die. And then I'm going to open this up, and this time on the inside front side of the card, I'm going to mount another piece of this lemongrass cardstock so you have that kind of peekaboo effect on this card. Now I'm going to finish off both of the cards with some iridescent drops from Pinkfresh Studio. I'm using some liquid glue and my dual-tipped embellishment tool to place those in place. And there you have 2 cards using just one stenciling and stamping of that beautiful one-piece stamp. I love these Fluttering Butterflies. There's so many things that you can do with them. I've chosen to use a really light outline for the butterflies, but they would also look really beautiful stamped and heat embossed in gold as well. Or I love what some people have done with the white embossed outline and some watercolor with these stamps as well. So there you have it, a quick 2-for-1 using Fluttering Butterflies from Pinkfresh Studio. I hope you enjoyed these projects and I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in these projects in the description at YouTube, so if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It means so much to me that you spend your time here watching these videos, and I hope you enjoyed these projects, and I hope they've inspired you to pull out your coordinating washi stamp sets and use those with the stencils because it is so much fun to customize the colors on these cards. If you've enjoyed this video and you've enjoyed these projects, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here so you don't miss any of the paper crafting and card making video tutorials shared. As always, thanks again for watching. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.